All right, let's jump into a topic that honestly is part of everything we do every single day: resource management. So, to get us started, here's a little puzzle for you. Think about your day so far: your phone, the food you eat, how you get around. What's the one thing that connects them all? Yep, you got it. It's all about Earth's resources. The minerals inside your phone, the crops that make up your lunch, the fuel that powers the bus, every single bit of it comes from our planet. They're literally the building blocks of our lives. Okay, so it's pretty clear we rely on this stuff, right? Which means we've got to be smart about how we use it. And that's exactly what resource management is. It's the whole idea of using things wisely, making sure nothing goes to waste. But how do we know if we're getting it right? Well, that leads us straight to this huge, really important word: sustainability. And it sounds complicated, but the idea is actually pretty simple. It just means living our lives and getting everything we need today, but doing it in a way that doesn't mess things up for the people who come after us. It's all about finding that perfect balance. All right, so to really get our heads around this, we're going to break it down. We'll look at four main areas, starting with something we all use constantly: energy. First up, energy. I mean, just stop and think for a second about the massive amount of power the UK uses every single day just to keep the lights on, our homes warm, and everything running. But where does it all actually come from? Well, the answer to that question is changing, big time. The way we generate our power today looks completely different to how we did it just a few decades ago. So what's the big story here? It's this huge pivot away from the old school fossil fuels like coal and gas. For ages, they were our go-to, our workhorses. But we now know they come with a heavy price for the environment. So where are we heading? It's all about renewables, harnessing the incredible power of the wind, the sun, and the water to build a cleaner future. And look, this shift isn't just happening by accident. It's a conscious choice. We're doing this for a massive reason: to try and reduce our impact on the planet and tackle climate change head-on. Okay, so that's energy. Now let's switch gears to something else we all depend on: food. And you'll see a similar story here. The choices we make from farm to fork have a huge impact. So, we're at a bit of a crossroads. Do we ship our food in from all over the world, or do we grow more of it here? Importing is great because it means we can get things like strawberries in the middle of winter. But all that travel adds up to what we call food miles, and that means more carbon pollution. Growing locally, on the other hand, cuts those miles right down and supports local farmers. The trade-off? You have to eat what's in season. Two very different paths with two very different footprints. And this is where things get really interesting, because the things we choose to buy and use here in the UK, well, the effects don't just stop at our borders. They create ripples that spread right across the globe. Take deforestation, for instance. Our demand for certain products can literally lead to forests being cut down on the other side of the planet. We're talking about things like palm oil, which is in so many of our snacks, or soy that's grown to feed livestock for meat. It's all connected. And when we talk about rainforests, we're talking about these incredibly rich, layered worlds. Seriously, from the dark forest floor all the way up to the sunny canopy, they are packed with life. They're basically the planet's lungs, helping to keep our global climate stable. That is what's at stake. And here's the bottom line. When those forests are cleared, it has a massive direct impact. All the carbon that was safely stored in those trees gets released right back into the atmosphere. And that, well, that pours fuel on the fire of climate change. So how does that work? It's actually pretty simple. When we burn stuff, whether it's fossil fuels in our cars and power plants, or the trees in a forest, it releases greenhouse gases. These gases then drift up into the atmosphere and act like a giant invisible blanket, trapping the sun's heat and warming up the entire planet. And the effects of that warming? They're huge, and we're already seeing them all around us. Sea levels are rising as the polar ice caps melt. We're getting way more extreme weather, from massive floods to terrible droughts. And, tragically, countless species are struggling to survive in a world that's changing too fast. Okay, I know. Hearing all of that can feel pretty heavy. And it is a massive challenge, for sure. But here's the flip side. It's also a massive opportunity to get creative, to think differently, and to build a better, smarter future. I mean, think about it. This whole shift is opening up all these cool new careers. We need people to engineer the next generation of wind turbines, to design green cities that work with nature, and to become the scientists who protect our amazing wildlife. This whole area is just exploding with new ideas and opportunities.
So, if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this. You matter in this story. Your choices matter. It's easy to think it's all up to governments or giant companies, but it's not. The small things we all do every day, they add up. When millions of us make a small change, it becomes a huge, powerful force for good.
So I'll leave you with a little challenge. What's one small, sustainable choice you could make this week? It doesn't have to be a grand gesture. Maybe it's just walking to the shops instead of getting a lift, or trying a meal made with local food. Whatever it is, that's where the change really begins.